You hit the ground running, Mike?
Yeah, hit it running. I haven't stopped. Yeah. It's hard because we're trying to get this thing going. We're trying to we got to recruit. So there's all sorts of levels of recruiting. There's the portal, there's still the high school recruiting with the kids, then there's your own kids you've got to recruit. So there's like three different worlds coming together.
Mike, can you put us on the phone when Bill Belichick calls you and he starts discussing, like, how did that process work? Where Belichick's calling you and saying, Mike, I'm taking the Carolina job. Do you want to come and be my general manager?
Well, I think a lot of that was conversations that we've had ongoing. We were doing the coach podcast, we still are. And we would have conversations about opportunities. And I think when this one came up, as I've mentioned many times before, Bill and I were on this campus and we were walking around here thinking, how can't you win here? It's a magical place. I mean, there's nothing prettier than Carolina.
Yeah.
And they've been so good and they've got such great fan base, the alumni. It's a great institution. And we've always thought this had untapped potential. And, so I think to me, it was more about what he wanted to do than it was what I wanted to do. I always wanted to go back and work with him. So that was easy to kind of assume it was what he was going to be comfortable with. And once he started talking to North Carolina, I think he realized he got very comfortable.
It's interesting. So I'm guessing, Mike, knowing you the way I do, you don't take this job unless you know Bill Belichick's going to be there for a while, right?
Oh yeah, I'm not going to. I had a good thing going with the media with VSiN,
Right.
as you know, we were partners on DraftKings, and
Yeah.
I was doing a lot of things, and it was a perfect ending to my career. I've written two books, and I was working on a third book, and so. I wouldn't have done this if it wasn't for him. I wanted to work for him. I always did. We've enjoyed ourselves working together. It's a really good partnership. It's tremendous reward. And I know that the effort that he's going to put in is going to far exceed anything that anybody else would. And I wanted to be a part of it.
Where'd you leave off on the third book? Like, what are you doing there, Mike?
Well, the third book was actually going to be about the last 5 years in New England.
Wow.
He's writing a book on leadership, but if you look at the last 5 years of New England, the success that they had, three Super Bowls, we won two together, a conference championship loss, those kind of things. The book is going to be about the second run. Like we've made the first run back in the early 2000s, but that second run from 14 to 18 was pretty impressive too.
Do you think, Mike, at all that Bill, does he still have a desire to coach in the NFL at some point?
No, the question everybody asks is why isn't he chasing Shula? And the people that ask that question really don't know Bill. Because if you know Bill wants to win championship. Bill wants to go somewhere. He wants to set up his program. He wants to build a program and he wants to run the program. Now, people misconstrue that conversation as if he wants to control everything. No, he wants to be able to build his culture. There's two different things. Sure. Building a culture and controlling are two different. And so he wants to build a culture. And in pro football today, it becomes increasingly harder to establish a full throttle culture because you've got so many outside entities coming in. I've often said this many times. They've never dedicated a monument to a committee. And so in the NFL, there's a lot of committees. And so it's hard to get anything done. And I think in college now with the landscape, because it is professional, the players are getting paid, that you can run your program how you want to run it.
So it's interesting. So you and Bill have had conversations. Why did you view Carolina as a destination, as a sleeping giant?
Because it's one of the greatest public institutions in the country. The campus is incredible. The high school football in North Carolina is great. And when you produce a player like Lawrence Taylor, Julius Peppers, guys that are in the Hall of Fame, they've always had great players. I mean, we could fill up the Ring of Honor back here at the stadium like you can't believe. But they've not been able to kind of sustain success or get over that threshold, and this notion that, well, they're a basketball school, that's a crock of crap, right? I mean, you're a school. Vince Lombardi used to say this, a school without football is basically just a cathedral of knowledge. That's all it is, and so it's a giant study hall. And I think to me, football is a huge sport. And I think if you see now the landscape by these conferences, how things have changed, football is a predominant moneymaker. And you've got to have a good football team if you want to support all the other programs in the school. So, and this school's got, look, the women's soccer team just won their 23rd championship. This school's
Yep.
got great history in all the sports. I just think to me, football needs to catch up, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, lacrosse is one of them. How big of an influence was that for Bill? Just the fact that they have that lacrosse program. Petramalo is a good friend of his. How
Yep.
big of a factor was that for him?
Oh, I think it is big because Coach P could tell him about everything that goes on down here. They have a great relationship and what it's like to work here and what it takes to win here, right? And I think that was a huge influence. I'm sure that was the first call Bill made when he was talking about the school.
How'd your family and friends take the news?
Oh, I've had some interesting texts. One text I got from a very good friend of mine who I've known for 40 years. He's a high power agent. He said, "You've lost your mind," and so I wrote him back, "I love you too." But I think to me, I don't see it that way. This is the arena I've lived in my whole life.
Sure.
I've spent my whole life having people knock on my door wanting money. I mean, so whether it's 18 years old or whether you're 40, I mean, the knock's the same knock, the story's the same story. I got better at saying no, what's that Jimmy Buffett line? Occupational hazard mean occupation just not around? Well, you got to be able to move to the next one.
How different is this role than when you were like general manager and VP of the Browns? Because it's seemingly a new position in college, but it seems like it's very similar to a general manager of a professional team.
Well, actually, I think I have way more authority here than I had as a general manager of the Cleveland Browns. So,
Wow.
I had to report to a president. I had to report to the owner. Everything had to be checked and balances with the president, So, I have a lot more authority to do what I want to do to set up the program. That's going to take a lot of work. Just because you have the authority doesn't mean you're going to get the job done. There's a lot of process. We have to establish a process. So what we're going to try to do here at North Carolina is build a personnel department that is resembling a NFL pro personnel department. See, whenever you have money involved in any decision, you have to value the player. Player Y is valued at X. Player X is valued at this. So without grades, the player's value is meaningless. So we're going to build that database. We're going to grade every high school player. We'll grade every college player. So when a guy hits the portal, we know exactly what we're doing.
Mike, it seems, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the two of you are kind of laying down the foundation, the blueprint of what college programs are going to look like moving forward.
Yeah, I don't know that. I just know how to run this. I know how to do this job. And I said this to somebody else, and I don't mean this in any egotistical way. As you get older in life, you get better at what you want to do. I am so more prepared to be a general manager at 65 than I was when I was able to do it in my 30s. So, I'm going to do the best that I can based on the experience. Experience matters. And you've got to understand how you want to build a team. The appealing factor about working with Coach Belichick is we both see how to build a team in the same way.
What is a realistic timeline, I guess, for North Carolina? Because now college football is so different where year over year, your roster is completely different, which I would think is a challenge compared to the NFL, where you lock people in for years and you don't have to constantly there's not the same turnover that now you have in college. So where do you guys want North Carolina to be realistically? Is it an ACC championship? Is it the playoffs year one? Like, what are the expectations?
I mean, we got in this to win a championship, and this school should recruit nationally. Use that brand. I mean, when I wear when you see this isn't at
Yep.
every airport. You can't go to an airport and not see somebody wearing a North Carolina gear. We've got Michael Jordan. You got Lawrence Taylor. We're going to be able to walk into any high school and they're going to know North Carolina. Now we've got to sell the school and sell the ability to win. So I don't see why we should put any cap on it. I mean, we're going to climb a mountain. Now we're at the bottom of the mountain. We get that, but we're going to try to get to the top. I mean, there's no sense in going halfway up Everest. Nobody gives you an award for that.
Most people
Billy,
who go
this is
halfway up
Billy,
Everest are dead.
Yeah, right. You're right. They're frozen. Right.
They don't make their way back down.
Billy, but this is Lombardi and Belichick. Like, they think they're holding up the national championship trophy next year.
That's what I'm saying. It feel like you're going to talk me into this. Like, I think North Carolina's national champions now.
No, I mean, look, it's not just because we're here. It's going to take a collective effort. We got to get really good players. We got to spend time. But one thing I do know, we have the greatest coach of all time coaching the team. The team will get better. There's no question about that.
What do you think is going to be Bill's biggest challenge going from the NFL game that he had to now doing college football the way it is? Is it the time that he's allowed to do? Is it his interaction with players and the recruiting aspect?
No, I mean, he's always been a really good recruiter. I don't think people have seen that side of Bill because of what you guys see at the press conferences, the one-word answer. Bill's very good inside talking to a player, especially one that loves football and wants to get better. I don't think there is a challenge to him because you actually have more time to spend with players than you do in the NFL. You get more practice time here in college. We got spring practice. Hell, we can't do anything with the players until until May. In the NFL, we lost all that in the last collective bargaining agreement. That's why the offensive lines in the NFL are so deficient because we've lost so many of those players that we haven't been able to do that. So I think that's really a hard thing. I think it's actually easier to do this than it ever was before.
Mike, I'll tell you this because Belichick gave a pregame speech to my daughter's lacrosse team at Northwestern. He's very close with the head coach there, Kelly Hiller, and gave a pregame speech. Like, if people are wondering if Belichick can relate to 20, 21, 22, 17, 18-year-olds, that team walked out of that locker room saying that was the coolest 15 minutes they've ever experienced. So Bill can do it, you know?
I mean, look, I know he can do it. I've heard him do it many times. He just doesn't want to do it for the 60 million people that come to his press conference. Or does he have to do it?
Right? Yeah,
not yet.
Right.
Not yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy one. He's going to buy one. Look, we're fully vested in this. This isn't our. We're not going down to Boca Vista here. And retiring. I mean, we're going to put every ounce of energy we have into this.
Why'd you go Boca Vista there?
Well, isn't that where Seinfeld's parents retired to?
Del Boca Vista.
Yeah.
Del Boca Vista.
You're really excited for this. I'm excited for you, man. See, this is what you've wanted to do for a long time. If you were going to pry yourself away, if you're going to be pried away for the media, it was only to go do something like this with Bill, I think, right?
Well, no question, and not have to answer to anybody. We have Lee Roberts, the chancellor here, is tremendous. I mean, he sent me a text this morning asking me what we need, how we're doing. I mean, I never got that text from anybody when you work in the NFL, right? So it's like you're here without interference. And when I say interference, I don't mean it in a malicious way, without anybody, telling you how to run to do it. You see all these reports that come out that the owner of the Jets didn't want to trade for a player because his Madden rating wasn't high enough. I mean, seriously, if that's a true story, and I don't know if it is, but that's the world I don't want to live in.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. Are you surprised the NFL? It seems like the NFL 2 years in a row has kind of, and I'm shocked by this because I think he's the greatest coach who has ever lived. But it seems like the NFL has kind of said, hey, Bill, we're done with you. Are you surprised by that?
Well, I mean, look, the Atlanta Falcons improved their team by saying they didn't think he was very good, haven't they? They've done a great job with that. I mean, they've spent $100 million on a quarterback that they're going to bench. They had 3 coaches better than Bill Belichick. So my hat's off to them to find 3 guys better than him at 7 and what's their record? 7-6 now. They haven't really improved from Arthur Smith, who did a really good job there last year. So no, I'm not surprised because as Bill Walsh once told me in 1984, it's not always the league of the best and the brightest.
So, Mike, just as a friend, I want to give you some advice. Like, I don't want you, don't kill the basketball program and walk in there and say, we're going to turn it into a football school. Like Michael Jordan. Don't piss him off is what I'm trying to tell you, okay?
Oh, no, we need Michael Jordan, and we need the basketball school to be great. I mean, that's part of what makes the school so good. Every time a sport wins, the baseball team, the football team, the women's soccer team, we need that because we're a school that's going to build winners, and they have. And they have. They haven't needed Michael Lombardi or Bill Belichick to produce winners. They've done it on their own. We're just going to try to help them.
I love the idea of Jordan helping on a recruiting trip. Like, what do you think?
I mean, I think, Bill and him had a conversation. I think to me, he's going to
Jeez.
hopefully, I think he's proud of his school. So I'm sure he wants to see good football at his school. He loves football. He loves the competition. We need him. I mean, I think there's no question. We need Lawrence Taylor. I mean, Lawrence was on Adam Schefter's podcast the other day talking about it. So, look, this school has incredible alumni. Whether it's they played football, whether it's whether it's in the country music world, where there's certainly people that are gravitate to this team that want to be around it. I think to me, it's really important.
Billy, imagine that. Like, you hear what's happening here. Okay. You're going to have Belichick. You're going to have Jordan. You're going to have Lawrence Taylor. And you're going to have Mike Lombardi walk into a kid's home. Like, that deal's getting done. I'm taking
Yeah.
Carolina to win the next 5 national championships. I'm
Wow.
sorry. That's it.
Next 5.
We're just trying to win the first game. That's all we got to do, right?
I mean, you got to do more than just win the first game. If that's all you do, is a colossal failure, Mike.
Well, look, you can only win. You can't win the second one until you win the first one. So
That
that's
is
what we got to
true.
do.
But Mike,
One at a time.
listen, you're a media savvy guy. You're a media veteran. You know what's going to happen if you lose that first game. I'm going to crush you. Okay.
Okay,
Wow.
good. Yeah, and I love it. And I love it. And so, look, that comes with the territory. This is, as the great Hyman Roth said in The Godfather, this is the business we've chosen. We know what the rules are.
I'll crush you with a smile, though. Okay.
There you go.
Oh, good. Yeah.